Hello, everyone. Welcome to our final episode of season 2 and the final episode for this year. So, when you're listening to this, if you listen to it when we just release it, it'll be exactly or close to exactly a year since our first episode. So, we're going to spend this episode talking about the podcast and what we've learned over the course of this year and maybe some future directions of this podcast. But before we begin, of course, we're going to start with our weekly recaps. And we had a holiday over this week, so maybe we can talk about that. But Linda, how was your week?
Nothing special for the holiday. We had yams and ube, and we just made whatever normal stuff. I'll say I'm enjoying my game a lot lately. I'm really getting into
Hades?
the story. Yeah, Hades. So it's a way of storytelling that I've never experienced before because you can choose how the world building evolves and how you get to interact with the characters. It's turning into a dating sim because you can either date one of the Furies or you can
What?
date
We actually date them?
god. Yeah,
I thought it was a fighting game.
It's a fighting game, but when you fight someone, they give you these rewards, and then if you go back to the house, your home base, and then you give the rewards to people, then they'll either give you a small animal you can summon them with, or you'll be able to romance them or become friends, and then you can do that for multiple people. So you can basically be a hoe in the game. But yeah, I just really like how the different characters are all very well-rounded, and there's new things even after every playthrough. And I've never enjoyed gaming like this before, so I'm super invested. It's fun.
That's so wholesome.
Are you living out your Tinder hoe angst in this game?
Is it? Maybe. Is this my attachment?
Are you romancing all?
Romancing.
I kind of suck at gaming, so it takes me a while to beat the boss and then get the thing. So it's a slow burn for the romance.
So no more Animal Crossing for you?
I don't know. I kind of want to restart my whole island because new year, a new island.
Wait, I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, I haven't opened that game in half a year. I think maybe it's time.
It was so hyped for a while, and then I feel like it kind of died out.
It really died out really fast, but it got me through the beginning stages of quarantine.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What about you, Sally? Any games that are...
I looked at the game Linda was playing, and I decided not to buy it because... I wasn't... I didn't like the... the perspective of the camera work, because I like games that are more first person, I guess, where in Zelda, where it's kind of it's not exactly first person, but you're the camera's closer to the person, so it's more you're seeing it from their perspective. This one is more omniscient view, but anyways, it doesn't matter. Over the
Call of Duty.
Okay, yeah, kind of like Call of Duty. But over the weekend, I finished The Untamed, all 50 episodes. Yeah.
How?
It was so good. I couldn't stop watching it, so I finished it. And I also finished Everything I Never Told You. So I was very productive, I guess, in that sense. But The Untamed was really good. Startup's not over yet, so I can't finish it.
Are you caught up, though?
Yeah, I mean, I watch it as it releases every weekend. But I would highly recommend The Untamed.
I need your Cliff Notes. I'm going to need your Cliff Notes so I can memorize them.
There's 2 versions of it. So the one I watched, the 50 episode version is the whole story. But there's a Cliff Notes version that only has 20 episodes.
There's a webcomic too. So you can read that.
And apparently it's based on a book.
Yeah, it's a web novel or something. So I was thinking about maybe trying to read that one too. But because that one has more, it's not censored, so it has more romance scenes.
Wait, okay. When I was talking to Stefan's mom about it, so she thought I had watched it because she was trying to think of the name, and I was like, "Oh, you mean The Untamed?" And then she got super excited, and then I had to tell her, "Oh no, it's just my friend who's watching it." And then she asked me like what you thought of it, like what my friend thought of it. And I was like, oh, I think she likes it a lot. And then Stefan's mom was like, interesting. Because she read the book first, apparently, and she said it's like pretty different, or she prefers the
Okay.
book. So then after that, I had like nothing to say to her.
Yeah, I could
That was
see
the end.
how. I feel like whenever you read the book first, you would have some regrets about the live action movies.
Yeah.
But since I watched the movie first, that's the only thing I knew. And I think the acting was pretty good. And even the CGI, even though like Chinese fantasy like dramas and movies are known for bad CGI, this one wasn't that bad. Like it was pretty realistic, and all the scenery was really good. Um like like they always show clips of like mountains and stuff, and like I don't know, the little like villages and stuff that they were living in. Those are pretty cool. um and the chemistry between the two male leads, even though it wasn't explicitly romantic, like
Mm.
just like their dynamic is really fun to see. And then I also watched all the behind the scenes
Oh my gosh.
because I was so obsessed with it. And the two characters are like opposite personalities off screen. Cause like the guy who's like serious and like stone face the whole drama, off screen he's just like messing around with the other guy the whole time and trying to fight him all the time.
Wow, you really got in deep.
Yeah.
Wait, Sally, do you know the blind girl in The Untamed, like the actress? She's in the girl group reality show that I watched recently, and then she
Like Idol
became one of their.
producer?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was like produce camp
Oh yeah.
or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the one that she sang the song. I feel like the OST is really good because I always
She
listen
sang
to
the
it
song.
in the background. Yeah.
OST is really good. Yeah, it makes me okay after watching this drama because okay, so the characters in this drama fight. They learn how to fight using like musical instruments. Like one guy uses a what's it called? Guzheng? I don't know what it's called in Mandarin.
Guten.
Guzi? I don't know. The Chinese piano is like strings and like but yeah, he uses that to fight, and then the other guy uses a flute to fight or to do his like demon magic stuff. But yeah, after watching this drama, I really want to get a guzheng and like learn how to play it. So it looks so cool. And he
Ooh.
looks so elegant when he plays it. Even though
You can come to my house.
probably
My mom has one.
You have one?
Oh, is that what your mom
Yeah.
plays?
Yeah. So the one with like the less strings is guqin, and the one with like lots of strings, and then you have to wear like the nails to play it is
Yeah.
guqin, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I will take lessons from my mom.
Is that how your week's been going? I feel like we're doing basically a mini media review because nothing has happened.
Yeah, I mean, my week going back into work was really hard, to be honest. Like Monday felt so hard after having 4 days off, and yeah, I could not get out of bed at all.
That's relatable.
Yeah, but it's getting better. I mean, now that it's Wednesday, I've like gotten back into the groove of work. But then we have holidays coming up soon too, so then it's gonna be out of whack again.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about that with my other friends because, yeah, Monday was kind of weird for me too. Where I felt out of it. But they were like, oh, don't worry, you'll have another break in about like under a month. So I hate this like back and forth of like not being fully into work, but like, I don't know. That's how my work week has been going.
Any other updates, Ming?
Besides having that conversation with Stefan's mom, which for listeners who don't hear my text or see my text, that's like that's the longest conversation I've had with her basically. Was when we talked about the Untamed, and I complimented her food, and that was about it. But to start one step forward, but other than that, yeah, my Thanksgiving was pretty chill too. It's like typically we just stay home anyway, so it wasn't that different. My sister made the turkey this year, so she was all very proud, taking pictures of it from like different angles.
Isn't it just the breast without the legs and stuff?
Yeah, it was just the breast, but she like cooked it on top of roasted vegetables, and like the way she seasoned it, I guess it took a while, so she was very proud about it. It's good. We just finished all the leftovers, I think, today, so now I have to go back to making regular food, I guess. But yeah, I mean, same as you guys. It's the weather's being really cold now, so it's like hard to get out of bed. Like now I wait until it's actually 9 o'clock to like turn on my laptop. And then sometimes I'll like scoop back into bed.
Actually, yeah.
But yeah, that's how it's going. Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I failed. Okay.
Wait.
Ming, do you want to continue doing the video editing?
Wait, excuse me?
I mean, you don't have to do like special effects or anything. Just like
Yeah,
editing.
actually, it wasn't that bad. Literally, the hardest part was the exporting. It took so long to export.
Did you use iMovie?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Oh. For me,
Right?
it didn't take that long. Wait, did it? I don't remember.
I mean, I can do it if you do the description. Well, if I'm gonna, I already write the description already though. I'll do
can
this
do
last
it.
one. I'll do this last one.
Okay. We can take turns. How about that?
Yeah, we can get Linda to do it.
Oh yeah, Linda can do it.
Linda.
How
Linda,
about
you're
that?
doing it.
For this one?
Yeah.
We gotta
You just
toss
have
you
to
into the
edit
water.
the video.
Edit it into what?
Like just edit out this part. Like stuff where
Okay.
we're talking
Yeah,
nonsense.
just like slice it, kind of.
Yeah. And if you want, you can add your own graphics if you're feeling motivated.
Well, okay. Last time it made sense because we were talking about like actual things. This time, okay.
I
Anyways,
don't know. Okay, ready?
Yes.
3,
yes.
2, 1.
Okay. So when the Spotify Unwrapped drops, we're all thinking back to the year before, and this podcast is no exception. So we're going to talk about some of our personal reflections on this year, celebrate our 1-year birthday or 1-year anniversary of our podcast. We'll talk about some goals, what we learned. We're going to go into our favorite episodes and maybe talk about next steps in the future of this podcast. So, do you want to start on personal reflections? We did an episode in the beginning of the year where we did our New Year's resolutions, and then we did one in the middle of the year where we like look back on our New Year's resolutions. So, at the end of the year, what are our thoughts?
I guess I'll go first. So my goal at the beginning of the year was, I think, to bullet journal more and also bullet journal in Chinese, I think. And also, I think it was exercising more, like have a more regular exercise routine or something like that. And, well, I fell off on bullet journaling. Like literally, I think 2 weeks into working, I stopped bullet journaling because every day is like the same and there was no point in writing it down in my bullet journal. But I did try to learn or develop my Chinese throughout the year. So in Taiwan, I like did bullet journal in Chinese, but recently I've been watching more like Chinese language media, so like The Untamed, but also like YouTubers on. I've been trying to find more Chinese YouTubers so I can expose myself to more Chinese language. And in terms of exercise, that also fell out after I started working, as Meng can attest to. But we did this Chloe Ting, we did the Chloe Ting challenge. Like we did several Chloe Ting challenges over the summer, so I
Very
think
impressive.
I would consider a success.
Yeah. Wait, Sally, it's wild that you were talking about journaling in Taiwan, and for a second I was like, wait, that was this year? Like,
yeah,
that's kind of crazy that it was
like
it was
feels
still
like a decade
2020.
ago. Yeah,
right? I barely remember it, but yeah, I feel like mine was pretty similar. I don't remember my exact goals, but it was probably within the same vein of like exercise more, which like Sally stopped after. Honestly, I feel like this is a trend. Like not just because of work, but whenever it gets cold out, I'm just not motivated to move my body. I kind of just want to stay like, and then it's like dark by the time work ends. So I kind of just like snuggle into my bed. And I'm
It's
fine with that.
hibernation.
Honestly, yeah, I'm fine with letting my body, hibernate, get a little squishy for the winter, and then I'll come back later. And in terms of journaling, I actually stopped bullet journaling for a good while, which felt kind of like a loss of my personality a little bit. But I was like putting too much pressure on myself, and I was treating it as more of like a task where I would get upset at myself if I didn't journal, or I had like a habit tracker and I would get upset if I didn't like mark it off or if I forgot to do those things. So it was becoming way too like goal oriented. So I stopped doing it. And now I'll just like whenever I'm in the mood, or sometimes a lot of times it's like song lyrics get stuck in my head, I'll like write it down and then my thoughts come out then. But it's way less of like a daily journal, which, I'm not mad about. I don't know if I'll regret it in the future, but right now
Do
that's
you
what I
still
need.
write in your diary?
Not
No more
I'll
diary?
write I'll write occasionally, like whenever I feel in the mood to do it, but it's not the same as it used to be, where I literally was like, you have to write every day something
Mhm.
in your journal so you'll like remember the day. But like Sally said, like there's nothing to remember.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. I go to work, sit at my desk, and then go back to my bed. So there's not that much to write about. Even okay, I was doing a 1 second a day video right at the
Oh
beginning because like we're in
yeah.
Taiwan, this will be great. And I've kept it up, but like there's definitely gaps here and there. And then I watched it back like last week. And it's literally so boring. It's just little clips of my dog or plants. Like it's not what I thought it was gonna be. So yeah, that's just how the year's been.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's weird to think about that. This is such like a historic year. There's a pandemic we've never seen before,
Mhm.
but for our like own personal documentation things, there's nothing to write down, and like
Yeah.
nothing's happening, even though like everything is so wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because I think in the future we'll want to, or maybe we won't want
Archive.
to reminisce, but yeah, maybe archive for like historical things. And when I told Stefan, so Stefan journals too, and when I told him I was stopping, he was like, no, you can't do that. Like, you're going to want to remember what happened like during this historical time. And I was like, will I really? I don't know.
Well, guess what? We have this podcast to look back on.
Exactly.
We didn't
Wow.
podcast the whole year.
That's impressive. I'm not going to say that I didn't think we would get this far, but I'm surprised we were so dedicated to it. Like
Yeah,
we only took a
honestly,
few breaks.
yeah. I think in the hiatus time, like right after graduation, I was kind of worried. Like, what are we going to talk about after this? And then also sometimes when we were brainstorming ideas and we could not think of any topics to talk about, like I was like, should we really keep on doing this? But we made it through, made it to the end of the year.
Wait, yeah, that's how I thought about it too, because it was like you said, do we really have that much to talk about? But if you think about it, I think we had our highest number of guests like after that hiatus. And I don't know if all the episodes were like creative, like works of art, but I think some of them were pretty good. And we could talk about that later, but
Yeah, I can definitely
hiatus.
see our improvement throughout time. Yeah. So do you
No,
want to
no,
talk
what about your
Oh yeah.
okay. What about your resolution?
I don't remember my resolution, which means it wasn't that.
Tattooing yourself.
Yeah, we remember.
Okay, I said some shit about wanting to do more stick and poke tattoos because that's what I was into at the time. It feels so long ago. Like, was that really January-ish? But I kind of fell off. I thought I would give myself one in quarantine because nothing to do, but I don't know. I mean, I still have the stuff and I have some ideas. I did get like a professional one, so I don't know. I feel like in the face of how professional it is, I'm kind of scared to do it now. But maybe later. IDK. Probably just fixing up the things because like things like I can touch them up and not have to go to a shop for that.
That's true. I forgot that was your thing too. Sometimes I forget about my tattoo until like I look down in the shower or something, then I see it.
I think I just ran out of friends who would let me tattoo them.
Yeah, Sally was like, no one's touching this body.
Only professionals.
But your year overall, what do you think, Linda?
Oh, we're doing year overall now.
Well,
What
I
do you
guess
think of your
just
transition, I guess,
I mean, I
from
feel like the most
college?
momentous occasion was graduating.
Really?
I mean,
That
it's
was like
like
the most anticlimactic thing for me.
yeah.
no, like ending college
Oh
is
yeah.
okay.
and like
Yeah.
transitioning to post grad is
Mhm.
Mhm.
what happened, I guess. I mean, there were little things, and I feel like since I don't journal and I hate writing stuff down, everything just feels very gradual.
Mhm.
Um, I had my first breakup, which
Mhm.
is a significant thing, I think. Um, I don't know. Someone else talk.
Well, I mean,
I think,
the graduation thing is significant too.
yeah,
Mm,
for all of us, definitely. I
Mhm.
think it was hard to also, like, not just graduating, but starting a new job was very
Yeah.
momentous. I don't know.
That's not
For
true.
me, I don't know what you said before, but like for me, moving to Frederick, like the moment or like building up to the move to Frederick, I felt like kind of anxious about this new job because moving itself was like a physical sign that I was going to start my new job and like,
Mhm.
moving out of my parents' house. Even though I go back every weekend, it's just like it's not the same, I guess, because I feel so like safe and like used to living in my parents' house and then now living in Frederick where I mean, I'm like friends with my roommate and I feel safe there too, but it was like a weird transition, especially in
Mhm.
pandemic times.
I might have to say, Sally, that you might have had. I think you had the biggest,
like
visual
change.
change. Yeah, physical and I don't know,
Physical.
milestone change. Like physically, you moved
Um,
and you physically go into not a real, you physically go into a job. Well,
mhm,
Lynn and I are in the same location. We have a different job, but honestly, if I think about it hard enough, it kind of just feels like I'm doing schoolwork with a little bit more responsibility.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
so you might have had the biggest change too, which is interesting to think about. I was
Yeah.
thinking about schoolwork lately too because I'm still in the UMD Reddit, so I see when um, like UMD students are complaining about Zoom classes or whatever, and uh, in my mind, I almost erased that half a semester where we did it online. Like I
Oh
really
Yeah.
yeah.
don't
It really
remember.
went by really fast.
Yeah, the only thing I remember is like Lynn and I talking shit about our professional like paper or capstone professor and then
Yeah.
having to record that presentation, but I don't remember anything else. And so somehow like in my brain we like skipped from being on campus to like working.
Hmm.
Like that whole time of me searching for a job, I don't really remember it either. It's weird.
Mm. I
It's
guess
weird because
thinking
I
about it.
remember. Oh,
Oh, sorry.
well, I was gonna say like when Ming was like in her job searching phase, I think it was a really big thing for you. Like that's what you would talk about every week on your weekly
Yeah.
recap, and you thought
Mm.
about it. But like now that you're past it, it just seems like such a small dot in the year, I guess.
I mean that's true.
Yeah. Like I don't remember the stress from before.
Yeah.
Um, but we graduated in like May, right? Second
Hmm.
Yeah.
week of May or something.
Yeah.
And then I started working June 1st, which is like only 2 weeks of not doing anything, but it felt like so
Mhm.
long. I don't know
Mm.
if you guys would relate, but like being at home and doing that school, it felt like nothing was
I wish it
happening.
was
Like I was
longer, to be
nothing.
honest.
Yeah.
I wish I could have
School
started
or
late. No, work. I wish I
mm,
could have had more of a like a summer vacation or like my last summer break
yeah.
until I started work.
I
Because
agree with
honestly,
you.
yeah.
Mm.
Honestly, I felt like I needed a break. Also because my last semester was kind of stressful because I had finals and classes, of course, but I also had to write um my paper, like
Oh,
thesis
right.
paper. It's like undergraduate honors thesis. So that was really stressful. And then I was writing that paper up until like the week after classes ended or after finals ended. So, and I
Mm-hmm.
had my defense too. So it was pretty stressful leading up to graduation, I guess.
Hmm. I was talking to actually my mom about this. We went on a walk a few days ago, and I was telling her how my Planned Parenthood intern like boss was telling me like right before I left for the end of the year, she's like, oh, like it's okay if you don't have any jobs lined up right now. Like, you might just want to take the summer. Everything's in like a weird place. So like just take the summer, don't stress. And then I remember the exact thinking what I was thinking when she told me that. I was like, who are you to like who are you to tell me not to look for a job? Like, wow, like I can't believe you would say that. Like, of course I should be looking for a job. Like, this economy is like failing. Like, I need to find a job. And I guess seeing other people get jobs, like you two, and then like, of course, all the people who already had one lined up. That summer or that beginning part of the summer, I was so stressed about finding a job. And now I agree with you, Sally. Like, that was literally the last summer break I'll ever get.
Yeah.
Especially during a pandemic when that's easily maybe the most forgiving time for someone who has the privilege of having a safe home and like to live with family. Like that would have been a good time to maybe be more gentle on yourself. But
Yeah. Well, we live and we learn.
yeah.
I mean, did you learn though? I feel like next time the situation comes around, it's like everyone else can be gentle, but I have to be hard on myself.
Yeah, that's always how it is, isn't it? You can never take your own advice.
Do we want to talk about the pod?
Yeah, we can get more specific.
Do we have any goals for this podcast when we started out?
Yes,
I guess like a time capsule.
I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear it.
Wait, do we have more?
I don't know. Did you guys have like internal? Like I had thoughts about the podcast, but we never like wrote them down or anything.
Was like to make it big. I don't know.
Be big, like ABG big, or like
be able to sustain or like have some income off of the podcast. But I mean, that's not realistic.
Sally, can you update the audience?
We have $10. Split between the
in a year. Not in
$10 in 1 year,
That's not bad, I guess.
So that was your goal, or your like in your mind?
That's just like one of my dreams for this podcast, I guess.
That's
because honestly,
maybe the next fiscal year.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I get like I have like these phases where I'm like really into podcasting, and I like imagine or like fantasize, what if we were full-time podcasters like ABG, and we could quit our day jobs.
Wait, Sally, I can tell when you get into that phase because you'll come up with like, I have all these like, we should start a YouTube channel. We should optimize our SEO. Wait, but I kind of understand that because I think when it comes to the podcast, I like fluctuate like pretty heavily between wanting to be really big. And I think it's when I like look at ABG and I see that they were able to quit their jobs and they're like doing really well. And I'm like, what's holding us back? Like, we literally can do it ourselves. We have good content. But then I also fluctuate back to being like, oh, like, no one will ever listen to this. I want to keep it, just for us, like a time capsule, like, keep it personal. So, like, I, like, really fluctuate between the two.
We need a strong, so we need someone to market us to the general public. Like, we need a famous
agent.
Yeah, that friend. Too, I guess.
An agent, famous friend, yeah. I really think it's literally what is it to become like internet famous? You have to like you have to either have connections or release something that just catches like a we call it a snowball.
Oh.
Snowball?
Like something that snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and like catches on more viewers and attention. But I mean, Linda, if you want to do something scandalous, go ahead.
What is there to do?
I don't know.
Maybe when we do the ABG transformation and post it on YouTube.
When you do the transformation.
I wouldn't be opposed. Been looking for a change.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, or if we like spill the tea on like UMD.
No one cares about UMD.
I feel like everyone's already spilling the tea.
That's true. But in terms of actual goals, I mean, did you have any, Linda, or just in it for the ride?
I feel like it was more like a time capsule for us kind of thing.
Of course.
I feel like after a year, it can... Do you feel like that's enough for it to be a time capsule? Like looking back in our January episode or December episode? What? It'll be like the more time it is, the more potent the capsule will be.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even now, if you look back to our before we graduated and we're talking about, the fall
Finals.
semester. Yeah, well, we're talking about finals and we're talking about being excited to go to Taiwan and then to have the senior graduation traditions.
How young were we?
Oh yeah.
Like already that so much has changed. Like I feel like we were so maybe not naive, but just we had no idea what was to come.
Yeah.
So if you imagine 1 year from now, hopefully, we'll be looking back and be like, those poor souls. They had no idea that there was something, just around the corner.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm bored, I like scroll through our Instagram feed and I'm like, I remember that. Or like, oh, like this was fun or something. It's like a documentation because I can't journal or I can't write stuff down because I'll never be able to accurately reflect what I'm thinking. So I feel like having this podcast is kind of like no choice. Like you have to say something and like you have to look back on it sometime or you have to hear your own voice. So it's like confronting that, I guess.
That's true. Yeah. If we move more into like things that we've gained from this podcast or learned from it or whatever, I feel like I've definitely learned how to voice my thoughts a lot better. Like you said, Linda, like you have to talk on a podcast or else there is nothing to share. So it's like I had all these thoughts kind of swimming and we break it down into topics so it's like easier to focus on, which is nice, but like it's still you have to like run the conversation. So
Yeah.
that's been nice.
And even after the episodes, I find that I reflect on what we talked about a lot more. So like I'll think after we record, I always think back and be like, why did I say this way? Like I should have mentioned this. Oh, what a missed opportunity. But it also forces me to reflect more on what I said and like have a deeper, I don't know, analysis on the topics that we cover.
Yeah, I thought you were going into like the sweet direction of like, I think about our conversation, but no.
Oh. I mean, I do think about it, but I also critique myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
it's
fair.
like more vulnerable when you're talking because you can't go back and edit what you say really unless you're like writing something. You can go back and like release like a finished product before podcasting. Like what you say, like if you sound weird, if you sound awkward, it's all kind of in there. And you also have like more emotion in your voice, I think, other than writing or drawing. So it's like a different medium, but I'm like, it feels so exposed. That's why I'm like, Sally, what are you gonna do when we make it big? Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, when we make it big.
I don't know. I kind of like that though. I like that we're forced to. Again, it's like it's live for us, so we're forced to sit and have this time to talk to each other and like think of something to say, which sometimes it can be awkward. But I like that we do it without cuts or too many cuts, because I think it like really forces us to.
It's our brand. Raw conversations.
Raw and unfiltered. Okay, there are some cuts here and there, but pretty much we just kind of like
one take
babble, which is unique to like Linda. Like writing, social media, you're never really present because you're always posting after or maybe with like IGTVs
it's like very
or whatever.
Curated.
Yeah, it is curated. You get
processed.
To choose.
Yeah.
Whereas podcast, you're still editing it, but like it is your full emotions and words. Wow.
Okay. So what did we learn?
I mean, I learned how to keep talking to fill the silence.
I learned that we had to respond to the guests after they make good points. Wait, most of the time, because before, I think whenever we had guests and they say something smart, I'm just like thinking about it. But then I don't think that I have to like respond in person so that it doesn't sound awkward. ...
You're like, yes, I'm nodding my head.
Yeah.
But you have to verbalize something. Yeah. I don't know. Podcast
Ming's like trigger phrase whenever someone says something and then you have to like respond. Your like go-to phrase is, that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What else are you supposed to say? A lot of times I think, or sometimes you don't know what people are going to say because this isn't scripted. Like it's outlined, but like there's no script. And so sometimes I'll be thinking in one train of thought and then Linda or you or a guest will like quickly switch it to a different topic. And then in my mind, I'm like, oh shoot, what do I say? So I just say, interesting. It takes time to process it.
Yeah,
and like
it does.
You don't know where people are going to take the conversation, which makes it interesting, but also like that's not that good for people who need to think it through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I learned how to pull something out of my ass when doing like intros or like doing
Yeah.
conclusions.
Oh yeah.
Because it would take me so long to like write a thesis statement for a paper or something, but now I feel like I can pull all the thoughts together and do it as
Mm.
fast as possible, even though it's always so weird. And then you guys look at me, I'm like, oh, what? What did I say?
We joke with Linda that her conclusions sometimes sound like a prayer. So if you guys never listen to the end of our podcast, maybe try listening to the end of one of them and you can hear Linda pray. It's nice though, because you try to get like a full summary.
There's always a
so-
Gotta hit
format.
all the points.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We had like a
Um,
work meeting recently, and then they scripted, I think, interruptions. So it was to like make the meeting go faster and like amp up the dramatic effect, because someone would say something and the other person would be like, interrupting for this important fact. And then
wait, they put that in?
they actually script, yeah.
What?
And we were like, what is this presentation? Why are they all talking over each other? But it's like a purpose to make it sound like a conversation.
So they
That's
scripted a
interesting.
conversation.
Kind of, yeah. They scripted like interruptions where the other person would cut in with something.
Mhm.
And they made it so organic. Like we were like, what is this psychological
Did the
tactic?
presentation sound good? Like if you didn't
Yeah.
know that they had scripted it, like would it have come across good?
Yeah, I think so. I never had a presentation where they were kind of interacting with each other, because usually it's like, I'm passing this on to my coworker.
Yeah.
But
It's
it
very
was, like,
Well,
rigid.
maybe
yeah.
maybe we need to start scripting our interruptions.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes scripting is good, but other times I feel like it makes me too stiff. Like I'm focused on hitting like when we script out our ads or whatever,
Mhm.
I'll try to hit all the points or look at it too much to memorize it, and then like it doesn't sound organic or
Okay.
natural, I
Mm.
guess. But that is an interesting concept, Linda, that they would like intentionally put that in, because the presentation style is so like monologue-y,
Mhm.
I guess. I was talking to maybe my sister about this, and this kind of goes back to like what we've learned from podcasting, and she was asking why. Okay, she knows I'm an introvert, so she just was like, why are you an introvert, but you're like putting your
Podcasting.
podcast out there? Like you're typically not this talkative like in real life, which I agree with. I'm not this talkative, especially around strangers. So like I feel like even more so you two are even maybe more introverted than me in some ways. So like do you ever think that it's kind of weird that we're so
Mhm.
quiet in real life, but we're really putting ourselves out there? Especially, I think of this when like we had one of our big fans, Callie, I'll give her a shout out, like came up to us during ECC
Yeah.
and we acted like fools. Like, do you guys ever think about that? And like, Sally, if we
Yeah.
do get big, you know,
We do get big. I think being an introvert or extrovert doesn't have to do with this. I think because we're just relaying our conversations that we have within ourselves, and like within the three of us, when we hang out together, I don't think we're not like the most talkative people, but we don't have troubles like holding a conversation, I guess, because we're so used to each other, like familiar with each other. But also this podcast is kind of like a place for us to just voice our thoughts and like reflections rather than like making small talk or like conversations, which
yeah.
I'm not good at. So maybe that's why we're like okay with podcasting.
Yeah. It feels more like facilitated. Like there's different points. Like if you run out of something to say, there's another thing that we're supposed to bring up. So
Yeah.
like that way it like flows a bit more than like an organic conversation. But also with like the introvert and extrovert thing, I feel like it's like I don't know, but when I'm with you guys, I don't see you when you're not with me, you know? So I don't know how you are with strangers.
Oh,
Mm.
So I don't know how less talkative you are or how not talkative you are. Because when we're in a space together, like I'm gonna talk to Sally. You know, I'm not gonna not talk to you guys. So
yeah, that makes sense. That we only know each other in this like dynamic of, well, maybe two like one-on-one, but like in this familiar space, I guess.
Mhm.
And I would honestly, what I told her was, I think introverts, like or more shy people or less talkative people, whatever, would be more likely to have a podcast than say any other thing, because they don't have to show their face, which is what I would worry about. Which, okay, Sally, when you were like, let's do a YouTube channel, we were all like, oh, but it's literally just uploading this conversation. If we had to actually like perform kind of in a YouTube video, that might be a little different. But yeah, I think podcasting lends itself to someone who is more introspective and just kind of wants to have a stream of conversation, but doesn't have to worry about like other external, looking cute or whatever.
Yeah, I think one of the podcasters, or one of my favorite podcasts, as I've mentioned before, On the Floor, the host is also like an introvert, and her friends are all pretty introverted, but they have really good conversations and like pretty organic conversations, and they reflect on some like certain topics. So I think maybe it is an introvert thing. I mean, of course, it's not exclusive to introverts, but podcasting is very good medium for introverts to like share their creative thoughts and stuff like that.
Sometimes I know, like, Luna, a lot of times when you do your weekly recaps, it almost seems like you like store up all of your rants about work to like spew them on the podcast.
Not anymore.
Okay. But sometimes I feel like that, like I'm just saving up, not content, but I'm saving up my thoughts so I can express it to you guys, but also so I have something to say. And I don't really talk to my family about my work life. So
Wait, how do you feel about like when we break the fourth wall or something? When I guess not breaking the fourth wall because it's supposed to be consumed by externals, but when you say like, "Are you listening?" or calling out someone, I always feel like a jolt because it reminds me that we're putting this out there later for other people to listen to.
I like doing it. I like that jolt.
Yeah. I feel like we always talk with someone like a fourth person in mind, but we never address them directly until someone does directly. But I remember one of my friends told me, like, when he was listening to our podcast, it feels like they're just sitting here on the Zoom call right next to us.
Aww.
So I guess that's nice.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to Stefan once, and he said he responded.
Like when he was listening?
Yeah.
That's funny. I don't think I've ever done that with podcasts I've listened to, but it makes sense. If you feel like you're in the conversation, you would answer or reply. I was thinking about the one time we did that interview with the Monumental magazine, and she was asking us, what was she saying? She was asking us like why we do this or whatever. And then I remember you said, Sally, something like you're thinking about the specific person, like an Asian American young woman or something like that. Like, do you guys actually think of someone when we're talking?
Really?
Or when you're responding? I'm pretty sure it was you who said that. Where it was like, oh, maybe like, why do you do this? Or like, what was the goal? And we were trying to be all like, we're doing it to give a like,
I would like to be
representation, role model, something like that. And I was like, I guess externally, like when I post about us or whatever, I kind of think about that, but I don't really think about that when we record this. Like, I'm not thinking of like young Asian Americans listening.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a specific person in mind, but like when we do, I guess career or like college episodes where we kind of have some experience, we do try to give some advice at the end or like insights that we gain from our experience. So in those times, I do think of our listeners who might be younger, might not have this experience, but overall, I think we're just messing around with each other.
Yeah. Wait, I think in the beginning we were trying to fill this like space we saw of not having Asian American women who were going into postgrad around the same time as us, because they were either like grown women ABG type people. Actually, they were all like grown women ABG type people. So I think we wanted like a baby version to be out there. I'm not sure how like representational it is or how like helpful it is to other people, but I know I'm searching for like YouTubers. Like sometimes I don't want to see a professional YouTuber because their lives are so different than like a regular working person. I'd rather see like someone who has some other job like telling us about their day or something, because once they get to like the influencer personality, like they become kind of unrelatable to others.
That's true.
I think of like Best Dressed Oh,
Yeah.
definitely too. When I think about that, because I think especially Best Dressed, she started off. Her acceleration to the top was like super fast in my perspective. I think that went pretty. Like I thought she was so relatable. She was from Maryland and she could talk about all this stuff. But then all of a sudden, she's like moving from LA to New York, and like she is leading a different life as much as she does or doesn't want to admit it. So yeah, I was thinking about that too, and I think that's the only time when I really truly wish that we had a bigger audience, because I think what we talk about is nice to hear. Like
Mhm.
it would have been nice to hear a
Yeah.
podcast like this when I was getting ready to graduate. So that's like a little part of me that's like, oh, like we're giving out such nuggets of wisdom. Not really, but like,
That's true.
you know, maybe someone could benefit from us. They just don't know about us.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're famous and you're listening to our podcast, please hit us up.
We could work out a sponsorship.
Yeah. We can pay you $10 to promote
All
our
the money we
podcast.
have.
Maybe we should talk about what Linda dropped earlier, but how long do you think this will keep going? Or why do you think, or do you guys want to keep doing this? Because I guess I have my second thoughts sometimes, or sometimes I'm like, how long are we really going to stay committed? Because I feel like I have commitment issues with like hobbies and things like that. So I don't know about you all.
Mm.
I think I said this during the Monumental Mag interview, that since we're moving along or like growing older, our content will also be different. So I think that's my hope, that when we progress more, our things are going to change. So it'll always feel like new, and we're not like rehashing old topics or struggling that much. Obviously, it's kind of hard in COVID because there's not a lot of things you can experience, but I think we also addressed that too, but I forgot what we said.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I forget either. But I think, yeah, similar to Linda, I think we can always we'll eventually always have something new to say as our life progresses, and as we reach new milestones in life too. But I think it is healthy to have breaks in between when we have like when we're in a rut for like content. So which is why we're going on break now.
Because the holidays and
Yeah.
but
We
we'll
should
figure that out.
continue until one of us has a first baby.
Wait, okay, that's literally what I was gonna say.
Really?
Because that is a big,
Yeah,
in terms of milestones, that's a pretty big life event. And
Okay.
it could come up sooner than
that's
later.
our goal.
Right, pick up the pace.
Ming's the most likely candidate right now.
No, that's years off. But I was thinking, like, maybe even like the pacing of it. How is it really realistic to think that we could do this for like once a week, like for several years? And I don't know. I feel like I would be comfortable with changing it up, or maybe doing like every other week or once a month, even if we got really stretched. But I would like to see it like, go pretty far.
Yeah.
Like at least till someone gets married. Maybe it starts having kids.
Okay, until the first child.
It'll become like a mom podcast.
Can you
Live on
imagine us
air.
as moms with their child in the background, like
No.
screaming?
And your kids will
Linda,
listen
I
to
can
the
imagine
podcast.
No.
It was truly a time capsule.
Right? Because then I don't know if it's like you're over, but I feel like a lot of times our society's like, oh, your big exciting years are in your 20s, especially your early 20s, when you're straight out college, you're finding yourself or whatever. But then you're supposed to like settle into a routine, get married, have kids, and then your life's boring. But
Honestly, that scares
maybe I
me.
believe part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe if we keep talking about our experiences, it'll keep it exciting, at least for our younger audience.
Wait, I have something to confess. I hope we start a YouTube channel, but not just for our podcast, but like making videos in general.
Oh.
What kind of videos? Like vlogging or like sit down, set topic kind of videos?
I mean, right now I feel like all we can do is like sitting down topics, kind of like this, but in the future we can
like a Q&A
vlog our
kind of
kids
thing?
or
Oh my god.
Vlog our kids.
or like vlog some moments and things like that.
I do like watching vlogs. I liked watching, we'll release this maybe later, but Sally vlogged our entire Taiwan trip. And I really like watching that because in a way that's different from podcasting. Again, it's another way of capturing a moment, but like in a different medium. So you pick up on different things. Even though we talked about our travels on the podcast, it's like different to see it through a camera lens. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's very like what's it called? Immersive to watch a vlog because I feel like I'm there in the moment. Because I mean, the video was taken in the moment. So then, whenever I see those clips from our trip, I'm always like brought back to Taiwan, and like I can feel the like not emotions, but I can feel what we were feeling back then. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So maybe Linda, maybe you can brainstorm some ideas over this hiatus.
A vlog transformation.
Oh my god.
Vlog.
Okay, I got an espresso machine, so I want to film the aesthetic things. And then I watched this other YouTuber. She's like a software engineer, and then she's like cozy tech vibes. That's like her brand, and it's so satisfying to watch.
Linda, it sounds like you just need to make your own YouTube channel.
No, I can't do it by myself.
Yeah,
we can make ASMR videos.
Oh, diversifying our brand.
Oh my gosh. Our brand because ASMR. Do you think we'll ever split? Like maybe if we couldn't continue the podcast, would
like
you all
person
ever
carries it on?
Yeah, like it becomes moving along with Linda.
That will never happen. I'm not gonna carry it on.
I feel like, I mean, personally, I cannot carry on a podcast by myself.
Yeah, we'd have to have like guests or someone. It's nice to have that conversation. I listen to like 1 or 2 podcasts that are like one person, and I don't know how they keep it going.
How do they talk to themselves? Even like 2 people, it seems like very few, because remember when we were starting the podcast, it was just me and Ming. And now that I think back on it, if it was just us 2, there would be so much awkward silence between the podcasts.
I mean, we'd get good at like trying to fill it in, but yeah. It's good that Linda joined in. What is it? Is 3 like the golden number or something like that? Or the golden
threat?
Okay.
What
but
is
it's always like, okay, no, do you know what I mean though? Like when you're drawing something or, you know, putting something together, it always looks good with 3. Yeah. I don't know why, but it's good as a trio. Okay,
a triad.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
a triad. But I guess if y'all want to move on to talk about maybe some of our favorite episodes, our favorite guests, can like rehash that because we've done. This is our 44th episode, so. I was telling Sally that when I was looking through our Spotify list, there are some that I actually forgot that we had done, like topics that I completely forgot about, like the scam or be scammed.
What is that?
That was fun.
It was fun because it was so random. Like it totally wasn't planned, but like I forgot about it. I had no idea. It took less planning, so kind of slipped my mind.
Okay. Well, episode 7, the one where we became friends. Who put that? Bink.
Wait, this whole list is just my favorites.
It's
Okay,
all
I like
Ming's.
this episode too, but
okay.
Yeah,
I put it because it's our 7th episode where we talk about how we met in high school, and then we do like a little that questionnaire from the magazine where we're supposed to ask like intimate questions or whatever. That was like the first time I felt like we really
Heart to heart.
Huh?
Had a heart to heart.
Yeah, like we weren't like I feel like the episode before we were trying to think of topics that would be like not gimmicky, but topics that would be entertaining or topics that would like catch someone's attention. But this one was like we talked about where we started from, and there were like some things that I forgot about, and so talking that out and then answering the questions, I feel like I learned a lot about you guys. But if you ask me now what I learned, I don't like remember. I just remember that like I felt very connected, or I felt like I knew you guys better after the podcast. After we finished recording.
The questions worked.
Yeah, but I don't remember the actual, content.
Yeah, I think like the first 2 times we did like those kind of tests and like personality quizzes, we learned a lot each time about each other.
Mhm.
And I remember when we were guessing each other's Enneagram, we got them all wrong.
Yeah.
But then, like, after seeing the reason why they were that number, then we like learn more about that person.
Mm,
So that was pretty interesting. But I wish we had more experts on these personality quizzes and like
that's true.
astrology.
We're kind of just like messing around, aren't we?
Mm.
Just like what we read off the internet.
Yeah.
There's a one where we make quizzes for each other, which technically we were supposed to be the experts. I think that was a fun episode, even though it was a chaotic mess, but
Mm.
it felt very organic. And another thing is that I keep learning things about Megan Sally that I didn't know before that I thought I already knew. I thought I already had like a clear picture, but there's always like something else.
You know what I remember from that episode with the quiz is that, Linda, your favorite scent or whatever is like almond.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that either.
It was so okay. First of all, that's just such a
I didn't know
random
what
thing to
almond had a
know.
scent.
Yeah. And then Linda's like waiting for us to like figure it out because she thinks we actually know. I just had no idea.
Remember when I
It's
learned
like
this
little
and it was
things
an
like
audio
that.
file?
Yeah, our guests were fun too. Like, as much as we have to kind of plan it out more, and it's a little more stressful because we're managing like additional people, especially the one where we had 3 people on at a time.
Yeah.
It's kind of chaotic, but I mean, we have a good conversation, and it's nice to hear other people talk than us.
Yeah, it is. And I
It was
feel like
really
whenever
nice.
whenever we have guests, they're usually like kind of an expert on some topic, so we can rely more on them to like carry the episode,
Mhm.
which takes the burden off of us more. But I think my favorite guest is maybe because it was the most recent one, but I really liked our episode with Liz
Mm.
where we talked about the imposter syndrome. I think she had like really good points that she brought up in that episode, and it was good to hear like words of affirmations from her about like, I don't know, being an imposter.
Aw.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you guys when we were talking about guests, it reminded me of like the whole format of our episodes are very like based off of a topic we think of, and then we kind of like build out from that. But I know there are some podcasts that don't have topics at all. It's kind of just
Mhm.
like whatever you want to talk about that day.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that, or thoughts on maybe bringing on guests without a specific topic just to have them join the conversation? I feel like it'd have to be a guest who can like really carry themselves.
Mhm. Yeah. But also like, I don't know, I'm also cautious about bringing guests that are too talkative, because then I feel like they would talk over us because as we said, we're introverts. But also like the free flowing thing, I think it would be fun to try it out, but I feel like it's like either it turns out really badly or like it turns out okay, but there's no in between.
Yeah.
At least like for planning out, we know what to expect, but like for free flowing conversations, I don't know, maybe some days we just have nothing to say.
Like looking at each other.
And then the episode like scam or be scammed like is boring.
Wait, actually, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, adding in an extra person just makes it that much more unpredictable. Like you
Mhm.
don't know which way it's gonna go. I don't know. We're also kind of like running out of friends, I feel like.
We
We're
brought
gonna
like
make
all our friends on.
Yeah, like we're not really bringing on strangers. I feel like the closest thing we've gotten to that was M when they came on. Like Sally and I didn't know them, so it was a little bit out of our like friend zone, comfort zone. I don't know, but yeah,
But it was easy to get close to M pretty fast, or like to be
That's true.
comfortable around them.
it's not. They're like our peer age, maybe.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of like when you talk about experts for the personality test. I think that would be exciting. It would just have to be, I don't know, someone who's either at our level or not too far above, because I can't be talking to like a professor on here. Like, I don't know how.
Huey.
Hannah Healy would be a good person, but yeah, I don't know how people talk to like bring on their
like
professors or.
Ellie Ward, when she does ologies, I don't know how she interviews all these experts and like
Mhm.
also does her own research about it.
Sally, we should interview your mentor.
I think not. No way.
Yeah, what is it like to work in a government lab with a mentee instead of a mentor? interesting.
Our episode with Hannah as our very first guest
Mhm.
was also pretty fun because I think she had a lot to say. She was basically kind of an expert in what we talked
Yeah.
about, which was, I think, sexuality. And okay, TBT, the times when we would record with one mic and then we would sit in my
Oh
room,
my
like
gosh.
on the floor, and then we had like the crate
I
and then
forgot
like the
about those
book on top,
times.
and then like the
That was
mic.
so painful. Wait, maybe that
And
was
Linda
like
had to she had to turn off her light because her light was so loud, and we sat in the
Oh
dark
my
with like one
gosh.
lamp over us.
I mean, that's the one benefit, I guess, of having to record separately. We had to get microphones for everyone. We couldn't just be using the same like one.
one.
That was, I don't know. Well, talking about Hannah, I agree with you. I feel like Hannah and maybe M, they came with like research, I guess, behind them,
Yeah.
and so it just felt like they were very expert about what they were talking about. I
Mhm.
think it's a good balance to have a guest who like can talk conversationally and just bring their experiences, but also like bring some facts with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a good episode. And we were nervous too because our equipment kept messing up and
my
we were
gosh.
embarrassed. And like, this never happens. We promise.
Yeah.
That always
But it's-
happens.
Yeah,
We're
it always
lying.
happens. But can you imagine, like at the beginning of our podcast, we were all huddling over this one shared mic. Who none of us even owned that mic, and now we each have one mic, and we have like 2 spare mics. So
Wow. We're just overflowing with mics. Some of them we still need to get back to people, but you know, when we have our second child and our podcast has come to a close,
A
they'll get their
second
mics
child.
back.
Mhm.
Well, we said we would. Oh, we said we would stop with the first one. Okay, when we have our first child, it'll come to a
Right, we
close
can
then.
reevaluate.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Linda,
can
did
make
you
a new
have-
podcast for moms?
Just keep carrying it on. I was gonna ask if you had any other favorites besides, I guess, Hannah's or.
Yeah, someone put this on our outline already, but I really like appetit.
Mm,
That's what we were talking about.
food.
I think, yeah, food and the times we were cooking, or
Mhm.
like favorite recipes or something. I thought that was such like a heartwarming episode, because it was mostly like storytelling and like experience based, and it made me think back on the times we cooked together or the times we had hot pot together and things like that. So it was just like a collection of good memories, I think. And it's like something that I'm so thankful that I documented this, or like we had this conversation.
Mhm.
Oh, I put it on the list because I was just thinking that we just talked about food. But that's a way better, you know, sentimental
You're being
reason.
emo about it, and then Ming's like, we just talked about
Food. Well, I mean, it is true that a lot of our good times and memories are connected to food, so that makes
Mhm.
sense. But yeah, I like that idea of having more of like storytelling, kind of just
Yeah.
memory pulling. I think that's
those
why
are
I
more
liked our
interesting.
because it's less like not forced, but it is more just like reminiscing on good times. And that's why I liked our dating series that we had. We did one with William, which was kind of like a standalone, just talking about what are we talking about?
Redacted.
Oh, redacted. To spill the tea, you know, expose ourselves, that sort of thing. But then we had a 3-episode series where we were talking about like different aspects of being in a relationship. I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
Revealing more of ourselves.
Mhm. Maybe if Linda and I get more dating experience in the future, we can revamp that series.
Ooh, is that a promise?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for that blind date.
That's true. Okay. Since I'm the only one that's dating someone, we were like, what if I set up Sally and Linda with someone? The problem is that we don't know anyone to set up with, or I have yet to find potential candidates. So, you know, slide into our DMs if you want to be set up with them, but
yeah, we're
I
gonna
have
see the
limited
DMs.
options.
You can slide into Ming's personal DMs.
Slide into
Yeah,
my
yeah.
personal DMs, or you know, send us an email. I'll check that. I don't know how often you guys check the emails or DMs, but it's a potential episode.
Well,
Future directions. I think we already talked about this though.
Wait,
Wait.
I like how Sally's trying to, transition, like, well, moving along. And then Linda's like, the heading,
We're next on the agenda.
Oh,
future directions.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Okay.
Anything to add?
I think we talked about this earlier. Like, we do want to keep this going and hopefully get bigger, but, no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, share with friends. But
It's a time capsule.
yeah, it's a time capsule for ourselves that we
Yeah,
just
I think-
happen to be putting on Spotify.
Mhm. I think it's fun. Well, not fun, but I think it's also good to have this like regular scheduled Zoom meeting between the three of us so that I know we're kind of forced to like catch each other up on what we've been doing. Because I remember in school when we were all doing like different things at one time, we wouldn't see each other for like a month. And then we would have like so many things to catch up on after that month happened. Or, I don't know. It's just nice to
Updates.
have this scheduled.
Yeah. We almost need a podcast with William because I feel like when we have our monthly calls with him, it's like boom, boom, boom down the list of like what's been happening, how's our relationships going, how's our job. And then you don't get kind of the more weekly or day-to-day kind of like little anecdotes that we
Yeah.
get on here, which I think is nice. So we should at least keep that going.
William, are you listening? He's not.
Probably
not listening.
But yeah, it's like so much harder to summarize what's happened to you if it's spread out over a long
Yeah.
amount of time. And
Yeah.
eventually it happens to me a lot where like I'll tell you, I'll tell Stefan, I'll tell maybe my sister, and then by the time it gets to someone else, like it's like
I don't
one
want to say
sentence long.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, that's the ultimate reason why we started this, I think.
Maybe in the future, if we get tired of doing like long episodes, we could just do weekly recaps every week. That'd be like a
That's true.
fun short thing.
Apparently
they just listen to the recaps
Yeah,
anyway,
everyone just
and they just don't listen to the.
Wait, I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought people would skip the recaps and like try to get into the meat of the episode, but I guess if the meat isn't that tantalizing.
I feel like the recaps aren't tantalizing at all.
I know, especially the ones where we're just talking about
Work.
work. But
I guess it's relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some ways for people to like stay up to date with us or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're done.
Wait, how was that?
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, this brings us to the end of this episode.
I failed. Wait.
This just means more editing for you, Linda.
What? Oh, the video's still going.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. All right, this brings us to the end of our episode and also the end of season 2 of our podcast. So stay tuned on our Instagram to see when we drop season 3. And hopefully we'll be back with some new and refreshed topics for you to enjoy.
You can make sure to check out our website at movingalong.com where you can find all of our 44 episodes and all their show notes with any links included.
If you like this episode, you can also follow us on Instagram and subscribe on iTunes or Spotify. We're also uploading these episodes on YouTube, so you can watch or listen to this episode.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait, don't be so bashful when you say bye.
Bashful? You sound bashful.
No, I don't.
You sound bashful when you read the script.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah. Also, when did we take off our IG handle on the script? Oh, it probably doesn't matter anyways. But
probably when I added the wait, no. I don't know. You can put it back in.
yeah, it's whatever. No one's gonna follow us anyways.
We keep saying that. We got some random dude following us over the break. I don't know his name.
It's only like 1 or 2 random